Over the weekend, Baldoni launched a website that shows even more communication between him and Lively.
And here it comes, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. This is going to be quite something. The biggest question today in court will be, will the judge institute a gag order? I suspect that the judge will not do that. I can't imagine why the judge would do that. It's insane to me that Blake Lively actually thinks that somehow or another she can say what she wants, do what she wants, blow somebody's life and career up, but nobody can talk about it in that person's defense.
Today, co-stars turned legal rivals, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's lawyers, facing off in court for the first time at a pretrial hearing where Lively's attorneys will ask a judge for a gag order in the explosive case.
But I'm going to be doing, I think, what most people are doing online who are really analyzing this situation, doing an analysis of the New York Times and the journalistic procedure behind how the New York Times covered this particular story. It certainly looks like, and it's pretty slam dunk on the receipts, that the paper teamed up with Blake Lively, gave Justin Baldoni very little time to respond, and presented a one-sided story. That's what the Times does in most of these types of cases that involve MeToo in Hollywood. And that is what I believe they did in this case, and it's pretty obvious. I used to be the communications director for the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax. Actually, this week is the 6-year anniversary of what happened to him, involving the New York Times, a very one-sided story. The New York Times really created the Me Too movement, and I think they view it as we need to promote it and keep it going. There's also some corporate tie-ins and considerations that I think brought everything to this moment. Even though Time's Up is defunct, the New York Times keeps this thing going. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out in court documents, what comes out in any testimony that may happen with regard to that journalistic procedure.
The attempt to staunch the flow of behind-the-scenes details being released comes as Justin Baldoni's team launched a new website over the weekend, featuring an amended legal complaint and a 168-page timeline of events.
And of course, the other aspect to analyze here is the crisis comms aspect. You can see that Team Baldoni is very aggressive. That is not what was seen years ago when Me Too first started. Typically, what would happen is somebody would get accused, it would get in the paper, their career would completely be destroyed, and that was pretty much it. Now people are really fighting back in a much more aggressive way. I can remember in 2019, the least little comment was seen as, "Oh my God, you're shaming women. You are now, insulting that you're questioning anything about this allegation." That was typically the PR defense that was put on by various attorneys. And the attorneys in these cases are very, very important, typically the same people on the Me Too side over and over again. But at any rate, the way that Baldoni is handling this is very aggressive, and to have a website is very, very aggressive. And we will see, they are presenting receipts. It's not just that they're talking and it's opinion. People can go and see for themselves what is going on. It was kind of the same thing that happened with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. You could go and see for yourself. You didn't need anyone to tell you what was going on. And of course, people like Maura Donegan and Kat Tembarge didn't like that very much because they wanted to control the narrative. But when the public can see it for themselves, I'm not sure why that's problematic. But it is interesting to watch certain journalists whine about the level of transparency that you typically get when there is a public court case right there in the public domain.
Including newly released text messages, allegedly sent between the embattled stars of It Ends With Us, as well as Lively's husband, actor Ryan Reynolds. One alleged text from Reynolds to Baldoni expresses his excitement about It Ends With Us, writing, "This is going to be incredible. I happen to adore you, Justin."
And this is a very factually balanced piece here by NBC.
But as tensions developed, the amended complaint accuses Reynolds of mocking and bullying Baldoni through a character in Reynolds' film Deadpool and Wolverine.
It is 2 a.m.
In this audio message obtained by thedailymail.com, Baldoni tells Lively he's sorry for creative differences that arose on set.
So again, we'll be looking at this from the standpoint of journalistic procedure in the New York Times and the crisis comms moves by both parties. This is going to be an interesting case because a lot of this is going to play out in the public domain, and hopefully there won't be a gag order so everyone can see it and judge for themselves what the information
filing
is.
suit to the tune of $400 million against Lively, Reynolds, and the New York Times for defamation. His attorney telling NBC News last month that they plan to release all communications between the feuding co-stars.
We want the documents to be out there. We want people to make their determination based on receipts.
And of course, that's going to be interesting because typically the Me Too side likes to play broad brush statements and stats and things that don't specifically pertain to the case at hand. So you can tell that when we start getting into receipts, as it's happened before, that is when people find out the real detail behind events that have happened. This is Lauren Burke. I'll be back soon. Shout out to the family of Army Captain Rebecca Lobach, who tragically was killed in the air crash near National Airport last week. I happened to have filmed her at the White House a few weeks ago. She was helping the fashion icon Ralph Lauren and helping everybody actually in that room to get seated, to get where they need to be situated. The military social aids are a huge help at these events, so shout out to her friends and family and everybody else who might have been impacted in that tragic situation last week that 67 lives were lost in.